when I give an injection, I always shake a patient's cheek. I use the mirror and I just shake my one hand and I give them the injection. And I'll always tell the patient, oh, this is my first time. Sorry, I'm nervous. I'm going to shake. And they might look at me at first, but I think they get it very quickly that he knows what he's doing. You try and put him at ease through a little bit of levity. Just, this isn't brain surgery. Yes, there's important things we're doing. And yes, there's things we need to understand and know. But at the same time, guess what? I'm fixing a tooth.
Welcome to the Comfort Dental Podcast. Get a peek behind the mask with real people and real conversations.
I'm super curious, how long have you actually just been with Comfort Dental?
So I've been a dentist for almost 19 years, and I've been with Comfort Dental for almost 17.
Oh, wow. So very early on, you got to experience Comfort Dental, and something in that experience made it positive enough that 17 years later, here you are going strong with them.
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing. I definitely want to capture that. Before I go there, though, what first inspired you to even want to become a dentist?
That's a good question. I don't honestly know the answer. When I was about 14, I started saying I wanted to be a dentist. There's nobody in my family that's a dentist. I'm the only one. And so I can't remember if I went to the dentist one day and I was like, oh, this is so cool, or what. I had a lot of dental work as a kid. I was not without cavities. It's very evident if you look in my mouth today. And so I don't know if it was those experiences or what, but I was 13 or 14 and I just decided I want to be a dentist, and I just kind of stuck with it. I couldn't figure out anything better to do.
It's interesting that you remember having a lot of dental work, and they must have been positive experiences.
Yeah.
Or else you probably would have wanted to go the other direction.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't remember like a lot of pain associated with it. Like, I had a root canal when I was 14 years old. I do remember that, but I don't remember ever having a bad experience at the dental office.
I know for me, just even growing up, it's like dentists were successful and they were good people in the community. It was easy to really admire them. Maybe you had some formative memories of just having a great experience and being like, hey, why not a dentist?
That might have been it. I don't know. I grew up in a very middle class family. My dad worked for the post office. My mom drove the school bus. And so it was probably a profession that I looked at and I thought, they probably do pretty well. I think as a kid, you always want to do better than what your parents are doing. And so I think I looked at that maybe and thought, oh, this looks like a good thing to do. I think they do well. I think they have a good life, a good living. They're able to spend time with their family. And so it was just something I gravitated towards.
Now, on the path of being a dentist, there's a lot of challenges, even just with dental school. Like, when did you know that you'd chosen the right path?
Boy, that's a good question. I never really questioned it, I don't think. Like I never had anything else in my mind that I was going to do something different, which seems strange, I think, because I think most people struggle with, what am I going to do? I've got a daughter in college right now, and she's trying to decide what she wants to do, and it changes on a daily basis sometimes. And so I think I was just a weird kid. I don't know. I just think this is what I'm going to do. And it wasn't ever a question in my mind that I was going to do anything different. Like, I don't ever remember thinking, oh, maybe I should not do this, or yep, this is what I want to do. It was just always, I'm going to be a dentist.
Was there a person that you feel like might have influenced you the most in your profession so far?
So far, yes, but not, I didn't know this person before becoming a dentist.
Sure.
I mean, I had a couple dentists growing up that I knew when I was young, but not like, I didn't have a whole lot of interactions with them outside of the dental office.
So just from a career perspective then, how about that?
So I would say it's Rick Kushner, Dr. Rick Kushner, who is the founder and CEO of Comfort Dental. He's the one that reading his material and listening to his material when I was getting ready to join Comfort Dental, everything just made so much sense to me about how to practice as a dentist. It wasn't the dentistry itself. Like, I like dentistry. I like doing dentistry, but his mentorship on how to be a successful dentist has probably been the most, I don't know, it's been the best thing that I think I've ever experienced in dentistry.
That's so important that you said that. I speak with lots of different dentists, and oftentimes, again, they fall in love with the idea of being chairside, strictly being clinical. And yet the reality is they find themselves with the dream, right? Having a practice. And then all of a sudden, they don't have a clue what to do with the management, with the running the practice. And that's where some sort of disillusionment or burnout comes in. And yet, here, right off the bat, you found a mentor that was able to help on that side. So it never became almost like a opportunity for some poisoning of your career.
It did. So when I first started as a dentist, I graduated 2007. I went to Temple University. When I first graduated, I got out of school, had no idea what I was going to do. I thought about specializing, decided I was just going to do general dentistry. And I went to a private practice and became an associate for about a year and a half. And I worked for a dentist. He was in his 60s at the time. And it was a classic story of, oh, I'm going to retire at some point soon and you can buy this practice from me. And I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, Sounds great. I'll join you." And I think I signed a contract for a year or two just to be his associate, just to work there. And he was a really good dentist and he was a good mentor as far as dentistry goes. He taught me about implants. He taught me how to be quick and good at root canals. He taught me a lot of things dental wise, but I was never exposed to the business side of dentistry. And I always felt like I was getting the leftovers, meaning he was running the practice. He had the bills to pay. I didn't. And so whatever he could afford to give to me as the associate, as far as dental work goes, that's what I would get. And I was having a hard time building myself up in my own practice within his enough to support me and my family. I was doing okay, but I wasn't anywhere near financially where I wanted to be. And that's when I started looking into Comfort Dental because I had a friend that had come to Comfort Dental out of dental school. And I called him up one day and I just said, "Hey, how are things going out there?" And he's like, "Great, you should come out and check it out." And so I did. And then I started listening to Rick's. Well, back then they were on CDs. And so I would pop in a CD as I was driving and I would listen to these CDs of Rick's lectures that he had recorded back in the late 90s. And everything he was saying just made so much sense about how to run a business. And the guy that I was working for was running a business and he seemed successful as far as I could tell. I didn't have access to his books or anything. But I would look at what Rick was saying and I'd be like, why isn't this guy doing it this way? Like, why are we doing things the way we're doing them? And it just reached a point where I knew he wasn't going to retire anytime soon. Soon to him was not soon to me. And that's okay. He owned the practice and he worked, and I have absolutely no hard feelings towards him at all. I really enjoyed working for him. But I didn't want to do that forever. I didn't want to be the endless associate that was just struggling to make it every single month. And so that's when I decided, you know what, I'm going to join Comfort Dental.
And it sounds based off what you'd heard from the founder. How do you say his last name again?
Rick Kushner.
Dr. Rick Kushner, that it wasn't like you were just stepping out to buy a practice without some sort of a safety net, without some sort of a partner. They provided what structure, I don't know, just things that would make it so there's less risk and yet still give you the autonomy that you wanted.
Yeah. So every practice within Comfort Dental is a partnership, which really attracted me to it because I didn't want to have to do everything by myself. And I was only a year and a half out of school when I started looking. And it was still scary. I'm going to go buy a practice and run this thing by myself. And I just don't know what I don't know at that point. And so it was nice. The practice that I found to join, which was the Golden Office, which is the one I've been in the entire time, had three other partners. One was a good friend of mine from dental school. Two of them had been out of school for 10 plus years. And so they knew already, this is how we run the practice. These are the things we do. Here's where our numbers should be as far as payments to staff and as far as our overhead goes. And I just was able to step in and learn from them. Okay, these are the things we need to do. And then slowly it just evolved and dentists come and go. And so some partners left my practice, came in, and eventually I became the old guy at the office with a lot younger partners. And I'm the one now showing them how to run a successful practice with low overhead. So we make it as successful as possible for all of us.
That sounds like a real mentorship model, which across every industry has always been successful. And I think that was the original kind of idea with almost like the mom and pop dentist that all of a sudden has a son or daughter and they take over and learn the family business. But at some point there was a disconnect and that didn't happen anymore. But it sounds like that really is the model that Comfort Dental has. And I could see why it's so successful.
Yeah, that's the model that we want to have. So one of the things I do as my role with the corporate office, and I do this with a partner named Matt Carlston, and you may interview him at some point, but we go to dental schools and we do presentations about comfort dental. And so in the past 4.5 years, I think we've been to 58 dental schools, and most of them we've been to multiple times. And every dental student these days is stressed about their debt. That's their
Mm.
biggest thing. And they all want mentorship because, but even when I went to school 20 years ago, dental school is very different back then than it is now. And there's a lot less requirements. There's a lot more dental schools, but the students are coming out, it seems, less prepared dentistry wise to do the dentistry. And so they all are looking for something else to help them become a better dentist within a year or two. So they feel more comfortable doing the dentistry. So they all want a mentor. They all want somebody that can look over their shoulder and help them with that first implant or that first hard root canal or those extractions. Because if they get stuck and they're by themselves, it's really scary. Oh crap, I just broke this root off. What do I do? If you've got somebody standing behind you, you'll try things. And honestly, that's what dentistry is. It's practicing. We're all practicing these things. We're not good at them. We're just becoming better at them. So you're a lot more willing to try something that maybe you're not as comfortable with if somebody's right behind you or in the office with you that can step in and say, hey, I got you. Let me step in with you. Let's take a look and see if we can get this tooth out or see if we can get down this canal or whatever. And so that really attracted me to Comfort Dental was that mentorship. It also attracts me to Comfort Dental now because I like being that mentor. You reach a point in your career where dentistry at some point just becomes easy. There's hard things about it and there's hard days and there's hard teeth. But for the most part, I could probably prep a crown with my eyes closed if I really had to. It's not a hard thing to do. And so I don't know, I really like being there to be able to help somebody else become a better dentist at that point rather than just, oh, it's the same thing every day and I'm just working for a buck. So no, let me get a young doc in here and see how I can help them become a better dentist.
I was just going to ask, like, what it is that you love most about the work you do every day. And it sounds like it just came out of you. I'm sure there's something with the patient, but even just that being able to help the young dentist that you know what it was like to be that dentist that wanted to be great, but didn't want to fall on their face and didn't necessarily know exactly what they were doing and just wanted someone to be there and be like, this is how you do it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's scary as a young dentist. It really is. You get in some situations, you're like, ooh, like all the training I have didn't prepare me for this. And so you got somebody with 10 or 15 years experience right there. You're like, oh, hey, what do I do here? It's nice just to be able to have somebody step in and help you do those things. And I do enjoy patient interactions for the most part. Some patients are tough, some patients are easy. You get a whole lot in between. Nobody likes to get a shot in their mouth. And my response is, yeah, I don't like it either. But no matter what, we're going to do it. The patient thing is great. And I've seen 17 years in the same practice, you get to know a lot of people and you see them over and you see their kids. And I've seen kids that are now in their 20s that were 5 when I started seeing them. And so I do enjoy that part, but I probably enjoy more so the mentoring of a younger dentist.
So in your 19 years of practice, is there a moment that stands out as particularly meaningful in your career?
That's a good question too. I don't know if there's one moment. There's times I can think of where maybe I did a procedure, like the first all on 4 procedure I ever did all by myself without any help. It was just like, wow, all that training culminated into that and that worked and it was exactly how it should have been. It felt good to do that. But there's a lot of moments like that I really enjoy. I would say I enjoy probably the most anymore because our demographic, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place here, Sean. You're going to have to edit the heck out of this thing. But like our demographic is, we'll see anybody. And I guess I'd put it this way 90% of dentists want to do 10% of the procedures,
Mm.
meaning they want to do the veneers, they want to do the all on 4, they want to do implants, they want to do full mouth reconstructions and crowns and aesthetic cases. And that's all awesome dentistry and it's good. And I call it sexy dentistry, but that's the stuff in and I do that stuff. I do that stuff every week. I enjoy doing that stuff. But most dentists are fighting for those procedures because they're the highest billable procedures.
Mm.
Our philosophy is, all right, 90% of dentists can fight for 10% of the work. We'll take the other 90% of the work. We'll do the bread and butter, basic dental services. We'll do them very well. We'll do a lot of them. We'll do high volume of those procedures, and we'll see a lot more people and help a lot of people. And when I go into a dental school, I tell students, I say, look, 20 years ago, I put the same thing on my dental application that you did, which is I love to work with my hands and I love to help people. And those things are true. I do love to work with my hands and I love to help people. But how much better are you able to help people if financially you're doing very well as a dentist? So when that patient comes in that says to you, well, they're swollen and they've got a toothache and they're dying in pain, and you tell them, oh, the extraction's $150 or whatever it is, and they say, Doc, I've got 75 bucks. And I have the opportunity to say, okay, let's get this tooth out, 75 bucks, we'll call it even. And we just do it because I'm not losing money on that procedure. I'm helping somebody and I'm doing well enough financially to be able to afford those things. Where a lot of dentists, or so they struggle with, not with the procedures they do, but they're overcharging patients. And so they're out. A lot of patients are being charged out of their office. Like,
Mm.
oh, that's too much. I can't afford that. I need to go somewhere else. Why not make it affordable to where you can help more people, still do very well financially, and then really be able to help those people that need the help when they need the help. And you don't think twice about giving them a deal if they absolutely need it.
Yeah, that's amazing. My guess would be there's something about the efficiency and strategic design of the business model that Comfort Dental has that allows that. And if you're a practice, even if you do great dentistry, but you really don't have systems in place that are operationally efficient, there's just a lot more maybe waste and underutilization that maybe they just don't know how to do it at that same exact efficiency that Comfort Dental seems to probably have mastered.
Yeah, no, we haven't. In I know in the state of Colorado, we are the highest. We're the group that says that sees the most amount of Medicaid patients in Colorado, as far as on the dental side of things. In Ohio, we're the same way. And so it's because we can be efficient at the dentistry, with everything from the time they walk in the door, it's efficiency. Let's get the patient in, let's get them seen. There's certain things we do, certain protocols we do to move them through the office. We want to do whole case dentistry, meaning if you walked into my office with a toothache, I'm going to get you out of pain. That's number one. But I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to let you know, oh, here's the other things you have going on that we need to treat too. And I'm going to get you out of pain because nobody wants to be in pain. But then I'm going to get you back and we're going to do this and this so that you're healthy, so that you don't have to deal with this again. And it's that full case dentistry that we want to treat people. It's not cherry picking, not taking, oh, it's the root canal here and the crown here and the broken tooth here and the one implant. And then they leave and don't come back because you didn't take the time to go through everything with them. And a lot of dentists probably think that takes a lot of time to be able to sit with the patient and diagnose everything. And it really doesn't. The way we do it is efficient. We're not going to give the patient 100 different options, because now you're just confusing the patient. The maximum amount of options that I give a patient is usually two, maybe three at the most. And here's your option, here's your option, take your pick. I don't care what you do, but I'm going to give you the cost and the options, and then you choose and let's move forward. And if you need some time to think, okay, that's great, but here's everything you need done. Let's figure out a way that you can afford it. Number one, get you out of pain and move forward so you stay healthy.
I know this is just a thing for patients where dentistry sometimes can get them feeling a little bit of anxiety or nervous. How do you make dentistry just feel more comfortable for nervous patients?
I would say the biggest thing I do is probably I joke around with patients a lot. Now, for right or wrong, when I give an injection, I always shake a patient's cheek. I use the mirror and I just shake my one hand and I give them the injection. And I'll always tell the patient, "Oh, this is my first time. Sorry, I'm nervous. I'm going to shake." And they might look at me at first, but I think they get it very quickly that, oh, he knows what he's doing. You try and put him at ease through it, just through a little bit of levity. Just, this isn't brain surgery. Yes, there's important things we're doing. And yes, there's things we need to understand and know. But at the same time, guess what? I'm fixing a tooth. That's all I'm doing. There's way more bigger things on the whole grand scale. And so I'm going to fix your tooth. I'm going to do it the best way I can, but I'm not a serious dentist. Like,
So, doctor, I know a lot of scientifically wired dentists that often struggle on the more relational side of just connecting with humans. It doesn't sound like that's something you had to cultivate. Did that come more naturally to you?
I think it did, honestly. And I am not an extrovert. In fact, my wife will tell you it. I don't enjoy talking to people. I don't enjoy a group, but when I'm at work, I'm very different.
Mm.
And it's not that I have to force myself to be that way, but I just try and be more conversational with them, less I'm the doctor, you're the patient, and here's what I say, and here's what I think, and I know more than you. It's no, here's what's going on. And you know what? I've seen it before and don't worry about it. And if I ask a patient, how long has it been since you've been to the dentist? And they tell me 20 years, I don't judge them or say anything. I hear that all the time. But and let's take a look and see what you got going on. I think being able to put a patient at ease is very important and not, again, not it's not the I'm the doctor, you're the patient relationship. It's we're going to do this together. We're going to fix your teeth. And whatever you need, I'm going to help you get there, whether it's making you comfortable or making you more numb, or I'm just here to help you and let's get you fixed up and move on.
Okay, so how much of that amazing build rapport with patients quickly, connect with them, put them at ease was also, I don't know, nurtured or encouraged from the comfort dental model?
I don't know. I think we have over 500 doctors in our system right now, and everybody's different. There are, for right or wrong, my way of doing dentistry is not somebody else's way of doing dentistry, and my personality is not somebody else's. So there are dentists who are very successful and do very well that probably have a very different personality than I do. So I don't think that was, for me, really something I had to learn when I came to Comfort Dental. I think that's just how I've always been. But I just thought, you know what, that dentistry doesn't have to be the worst thing in the world. It's not the best thing in the world, and it never will be until somebody can invent that drill that doesn't make any noise. And everybody asks me about that. When can you do this a different way? If I figured that out, I wouldn't be doing dentistry because I'd be sitting on a beach somewhere. But if I can make it a little bit better for the patient, then they're gonna be less scared the next time they come back to see me. And I don't think that was anything that was really taught. I think it's just how I've always felt about the profession.
So how would you describe like the culture of your team?
Of my office specifically,
Yeah.
or Comfort Dental in general.
No, your practice.
So my practice consists of me and like 14 other women. I've had several partners, but right now I've been there 17 years. Dr. Mosh has been a dentist for 10 years, but she's only been there for, oh, let's see, she's been there almost a month. Dr. Yancey, who's there, was actually a dental assistant of mine for 7 years. And then little bit of pushing from me, she went back to dental school, became a dentist, and then at the right time came back to our practice. And then Dr. Steinwachs has been a dentist for about 3 years. And I don't know, I try and cultivate that. We're all very different dentists. We all have very different personalities. But I think we all just try and just make it not such a scary thing to be at the dentist, if that makes sense. I don't know, we don't all practice the same way. And I do procedures that they don't do. There's things I don't like to do that they do, and that's fine. I think we just all try and have the same type of mentality as far as when it comes to the patients. I keep saying this, it's not we're important, we're the doctor, have letters behind my name and you don't. It's just we're just a business, and guess what? Our business is fixing teeth. And yeah, it's scary, but let's make it as easy as we can on you.
But I know you say you keep saying that, and but I'm so glad you do because again, I've been in dentistry for close to 20 years now and going to different trade shows, whether that's Yankee or the CDA, a lot of dentists walk around and they just have a certain aura of I'm on a different level.
Yeah.
And you are so, I don't know if it's disarming, but yeah, it's like you don't carry that on your shoulder as if it's something that you need to lord over somebody, which makes you so approachable.
I just try and put myself in the patient's shoes. Okay, if I had this issue, I know how a toothache feels. It's been a long time since I've had a tooth issue. I don't want to feel that pain. That pain's terrible. I don't know. I just feel like I'm just on the same level as them. I just chose a different profession than them. And Yeah, just don't feel that way.
So I'm curious, doctor, how has Comfort Dental supported you in building or growing your practice?
So one of the biggest things that Comfort Dental, we're very heavy on being a new patient driven practice, meaning a lot of offices derive their production from their recall. So their hygienist brings a patient in, cleans their teeth. Doctor goes in and checks, oh, you've got a cavity. Let's get you over here and we'll do the production off that. We are very new patient driven, which all of our marketing goes to driving new patients to our offices. And so in Golden, my office averages probably 100 to 110 new patients a month. And some of those are patients that show up one time and we do something on them and get them out of pain and we may never see them again. But a lot of those are patients that stay in the practice for a long time. And so I think because of that, it's given me the ability to see a lot of patients, to do a lot of dentistry, to become very clinically efficient at dentistry, and to be able to build a relationship with a lot of people who continue to return to my office. I would say on average in my office a month, of those 100, let's say 100 new patients come in, you think, oh, there's 4 doctors. It's divided up. They each get 25 new patients. And that's not how it works because I can't see 25 new patients a month. I don't have the time. I've got too many existing patients that come back and need to be seen for things. And so I think last month I maybe saw 12 new patients of 100. And then my other partners saw the others because they haven't been practicing as long or they don't have as many patients, at the office yet. And so I want to give them the same experience I had, which was when I started. I had a lot of new patients thrown my way. I was able to do a lot of dentistry really quickly, become very good at dentistry, and build those relationships with those patients so that they then start referring their friends and their neighbors. And I really think it takes a good 2 years of a doctor being in an office to start getting referrals from patients
Hmm.
because they need to see you more than once to say, "Oh, this is a great dentist. I'm going to send my friend over there." I think it just takes some repetition, and so I want to give them as many patients and as many experiences as I can at first, so that they start getting those referrals, which then just drives more patients, more patients, and more patients, which is what we want.
Okay, so two sides of this one. One of them is what is something that Comfort Dental does especially well for patients? And the other side would be for doctors.
So for patients, I would say probably one thing they do very well is getting them seen when they need to be seen. I will always take a walk-in or a toothache, especially if it's an aesthetic issue, if somebody broke a front tooth or if they're in pain. I could have a completely full schedule, and if a patient walks into my office in pain, I will tell them, "Okay, we're really busy. I'm gonna get you seen. You might have to wait a little bit, but I will get you in the office, I will get you out of pain, and I will get you seen today. And I'll do whatever I can, and then I'll get you back to finish, but at least we'll get you out of pain today and get you seen." So I would say we're very good at seeing patients when they need to be seen. For doctors, I would say we're very good at giving them, especially for younger doctors, at the ability to do a lot of dentistry to become good at doing dentistry. Because, like anything, it just requires a lot of reps. The more teeth you pull, the better you're going to be at pulling teeth. And so I think we give them a lot of opportunities to do a lot of dentistry. And I would also say we give them the financial ability to love dentistry. I would say not struggle with it every month because, oh, I'm struggling to make my bills. And I've been there, struggling to make my student loan payments or whatever it is. So we give them financial stability. And yeah, I guess I'd say that's the biggest thing for dentists is a lot of dentistry to do and financial stability.
So, how do you define, and you've already spoken to this, so much of the philosophy you have, but maybe it'll come out in a different way. How do you define great dentistry for your patients? Like, I know you've said, we're going to take care of you, we're going to get you out of pain, whatever it is, we're going to make sure that you're. So, I don't know if that's kind of part of
That
the.
would be part of it. But I would also say, for me specifically, is I've always had the philosophy that specialists are for special things. And most dentistry isn't special. Now, if
Mm,
somebody needs something special, I'm going to get you to the right place. If you need that surgeon, if you need a periodontist for a graft, if you need whatever you need, I'm going to get you to the correct place to get the best dentistry done you can. But I also don't want to have to send you 10 different places to get the treatment you need. Meaning I want to be proficient at all aspects of dentistry so that I can provide most of the care for you that you're going to need. And for most patients, I do that. I don't have to send them out for, unless it's something that I just don't enjoy doing anymore. I've done this long enough. There's things I just, I'm not going to do that. Impact more. It just takes me too long. I could do it, but I don't want to. I'm going to send you out. Yeah, I think it's just being able to provide the dentistry they need
Mm.
in the location that's convenient for them.
How do you help patients understand treatment options and feel involved in decisions?
So, two things that we do in Comfort Dental, and I'm sure we're not the only ones that do this, but this is what we preach is number one, that the treatment plan should come from the doctor, not from a treatment plan coordinator, not from a front office staff. And along with that, the payment arrangements should be done by the doctor as well. Again, that doesn't mean the doctor is calling the insurance companies and figuring out what Delta is going to cover or whatever. We have people for that. But let's say I have a patient come in the office, I take an FMX, I do a full exam, I come up with everything they need. As I'm talking, I'm not saying that, oh, there's an MOD on 3 and there's a DO on 4, and because then they say, "What's that? What's that?" I'm gonna talk to them in a way that they can understand it, but my assistant could also be writing it down and charting on the computer as I'm going. So I may say, "Oh, there's a large cavity on number 3, needs a root canal," because they all know what a root canal is. Or number 1 is erupted, needs to be extracted. I want them to understand what I'm saying because it just gets their brain thinking, okay, I've got some work in there that needs to be done. And then I'm going to reassure them after I'm done. A lot of this is just basic dentistry. Yeah, you got a few things to do, and that's okay. And we're not going to dive in and do it all at once. We don't have to do that. We can take it a step at a time. But most of this is just basic dental services. And so that's what we're going to do. And then I'll go have a front office staff figure out what the cost is with their insurance. And then I'll take it back to them and I'll sit down with them and say, okay, here's the option. We can either do a root canal or we can extract it. And then here's your replacement options, whether it's a bridge or an implant. Here's the cost for the root canal and crown. Here's what your out of pocket would be. And then here's the cost to take it out.
Mm.
And then I let them decide. At that point, I try and shut my mouth because I want them to think about it and I want them to respond as to which direction they'd rather go. And then once they do, I want to reassure them, you know what, that's a good option, or that's an okay option. That sounds great. Just so you know, here's the other option and here's the benefits to this option. And so it's more, again, it's more just having a conversation with them about it. It's not sitting down with a piece of paper saying, here's your treatment and here's what I've decided you need. And I want them to be involved in that decision making because ultimately it's their mouth. And I tell patients that a lot. Look, this is your mouth. I will do whatever you want me to do because it's your mouth. I just want to give you every option so you understand which things you can do to fix this. And if there's no other option, yeah, this is a hopeless tooth. It's okay. We can take it out. We can replace it. Or you know what? I wouldn't replace this tooth. It's a second molar. You won't need it. You'll be fine. And just reassure them that, you know, what the decision they're making is the right one for them.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I know, doctor, you said you're a general dentist, but even within that, are there certain procedures or areas of dentistry that you especially enjoy?
I, Anymore, I like doing implants. I would say I've always, a lot of dentists, especially out of school, hate root canals. Oh, I hate root canals. I've never had an issue with root canals. I mean, there's hard root canals, there's easy root canals, but I enjoy the challenge of root canals. But I do it all. I mean, I the other day I prepped probably 13 or 14 crowns in one day on different patients. But you know, so you become efficient at it, and I enjoy doing it all. Like I said, there's things that I can do impacted third molars. Takes me a while. It's not efficient for me to do it. And so, yeah, let's get you over to the surgeon. He'll get them out quick, quick and easy for you. And I'm going to spend my time doing stuff that's more efficient and frankly makes me more money than the things that might take me 2 hours to do that I might struggle with and then just be frustrated by the time I'm done. It's not that I want the easy stuff. I'll do the hard stuff, but I'm better at other hard things versus certain things.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. So what excites you most about where dentistry is headed?
It's a I could, this just came to mind. Sorry. I can tell you what worries me the most about dentistry,
Sure. Sure.
at least at the moment, is new dentists coming out just not prepared. And a lot of that it is, I think, on there's a lot of dental schools anymore, and that doesn't mean they're bad dental schools. Dental schools are doing what they can, but the cost of dentistry or becoming a dentist, not just dentistry, has become astronomical that these students are never going to get out of debt. And even with these repayment plans, and it changes all the time. Okay, how many years do I got to pay before it's forgiven? And then am I taxed on that money? Or it's just, if you can understand it, you're smarter than me because there's so much information on what to do. So that worries me that dentistry is going to become, less people are going to want to go to dentistry because the debt to income ratio is going to be so high that it's not going to make sense to be a dentist anymore. If you're five and $600,000 in debt from dental school and you're only making $180,000 a year as a dentist, you're never paying that off. You're never paying that off. So that worries me. What I like about dentistry and where dentistry's going, I like, whether patients believe it or not, dentistry has become so much easier on the patient and the doctor than it used to be. And I love implants. Implants aren't foolproof. Implants fail. I have implants that have failed, and then I've grafted them and gone back in 6 months later, and it's been fine ever since. So dentistry has come so far, even in the 20 years that I've been a dentist, that that I like that about dentistry. And whether the patient sees, root canals have become so much faster, so much easier with rotary. And every dentist or every patient hates root canals, whether they've had one or not. They've all heard bad things about them. But it's so much easier to complete procedures anymore that I like that. And it just seems to be getting more efficient and more efficient to do dentistry.
Now, doctor, you see a lot of different patients. What do you wish more patients understood about oral health?
I wish more of them understood that it affects their whole body. Like it really does. I mean, yeah, that it just, your mouth affects everything. And everybody who's ever had a toothache wishes that they had taken better care of their teeth, for sure. But sometimes that's not enough motivation to get them to take care of their teeth in the future. They fix that problem and the pain goes away and okay. But I wish they could just see that it really does affect everything. It's not just your mouth. It's not the only thing it's going to do is, oh, I got to pull a tooth. Okay, whatever. You have to have all your teeth pulled, and that really affects your health because now you can't chew, and dentures are awful. And yeah, there's better things, but they're expensive ways to fix your teeth at that point. So I just wish they knew that it affected their whole body's health.
Can you think of a patient story that stayed with you all this time?
Can only ever think of the gross stories. Is that bad?
Maybe they're the most memorable.
They are. I this is a very good story, but I had a patient come in and he had a denture for 20 years and he'd never taken it out. And I had to take it out of his mouth. And I don't gag. I'm pulling teeth. I'm thinking about lunch. It just doesn't bother me. But that was one time where I had to walk out of the room after I got it out. It just smelled so bad. And at that point, what do I do for this guy? Because this denture's terrible. It needs to be replaced. But he's had it in so long, his gums have grown around this thing. There's no way I'm going to be able to make him a denture that's going to now fit his mouth without cutting out a lot of epilus or anything. It just, yeah, those are the stories I remember. It's the gross ones. It's not and I remember the ones where, oh, I did some veneers on somebody and they loved it. They cried at the end. And then those are great stories. And don't get me wrong, I like those, but it's usually the gross stuff that sticks with me.
That's one of those at like a dinner party with other dentists. You're like, guess you guys haven't heard of this one. You drop that, and everyone's like, what? Because I feel like that is something that's you could go through your whole career in dentistry and not see that. So, yeah, that's pretty unique. So, how do you hope patients describe you after they visit your office?
How do I hope they describe me?
Yeah.
I would say I hope they would say he understood my problem. Number one, he's understanding and he made it as painless as possible. And but I never toot my own horn, but I do give a good injection. I have a lot of patients say, "Oh, I didn't even feel that," or "I didn't, that was way less painful than I thought." And I think that's where I get a lot of patients that come back to me, or a lot of patients that refer their friends. They'll come in and say, "Oh, I saw so and they told me to come see you because it didn't hurt when you gave them the shot." And I'm like, "Oh, that's a lot of pressure. Now I can't hurt you." But I really hope I make their experience good, so it's less painful than they thought, and they truly believe that not only understood their issue, but understood them.
So tell me, what makes you smile outside of dentistry?
I enjoy doing a lot of things. I enjoy fishing. I go to Alaska every few years and fish. I enjoy snowboarding.
Wait, while fishing, have you ever seen a grizzly?
Yes, I have. Not close. They were pretty far away, but we saw them.
So what do you do in that circumstance? Do you are you armed just in case? Like, because you're in the wild there.
Yeah. Usually you're either carrying bear spray, which honestly they say is more effective than carrying a gun, or you carry a gun. I've never had to, they've always been, oh, they're a couple 100 yards away. And you make a lot of noise when you see them. You just don't want to surprise a grizzly. And, but yeah, and a lot of places we have fished, we'll go to the Kenai Peninsula and fish the Kenai River. And there's a lot of people around sometimes when you're fishing in certain places, and you won't see.
It just feels safer, I'm sure, with all those people.
Yeah. They're cool to see, though. They're really cool to see.
Yeah, I've always had this weird, I don't know, desire to go to Alaska and face my biggest fear, which is seeing a grizzly. I don't know what I would do. I'd just freak out. I saw Legends of the Fall when I was young, and it ruined me.
Yeah, that's never happened to me. I've never fought a grizzly. But there, you'll be driving down the road and by the river, and oh, there's a bear, and you pull over real quick and jump out and look across at it. And that's pretty fun.
Okay, so I want to get in this final period to some of the questions about more specifically Comfort Dental and in your role. What is your role within Comfort Dental today?
So besides practicing, and I practice between 24 and 30 hours a week is what clinically see patients. I'm in my office a little bit more just because we're all business owners. And the good thing about Comfort Dental is you share the load of the business. So I'm not doing everything. In my office, I currently pay all the bills and I manage the bank account, and everybody has access to it, but I handle that spot. Somebody else does payroll, and somebody else will do the hiring and firing and manage the staff. Besides that, at in the management group of Comfort Dental, which consists of dentists, I help our basically my title is VP of marketing, but I am not that. I'm a dentist. We have a company that does our marketing for us. And so I sit in a lot of meetings with our marketing company. We decide what direction we want the marketing to go. We market in a couple different ways. We definitely market to new patients as far as getting patients in the practice. And then we also market to new dentists or existing dentists that are looking to make a change in their career. And so, as part of that, I also help, along with one of the partners of mine at the corporate office, we help to recruit new dentists or existing dentists that are looking to come to Comfort Dental. And so I travel to dental schools about twice a month. We'll hit 2 or 3 dental schools, do lunch and learns at the dental schools, try and present what is Comfort Dental? Why are we different from the Heartlands and the Aspens and the Pacifics? And what makes us better, in our opinion? In my opinion, we have the best system out there because you have the benefit of ownership and the pay scale of being an owner of a dental practice, but you also have the support of a large group practice. And so you're getting the large discounts being a Comfort Dental practitioner that you would if you worked for a large group, but you're still getting paid as an owner as well. And so I try and basically educate new doctors or dental students, 3rd and 4th year dental students on, okay, here's the business side of dentistry. And at some point soon, you've got to think of it as a business. And how are you going to make money? What is overhead? What does that look like? And so besides traveling to dental schools 4 to 5 times a year, we'll fly dental students and existing dentists to Colorado, and we have a meeting it's called our potential partner orientation meeting, basically. And we fly them to Colorado, we put them up in a hotel, give them a car, and we have a larger meeting where we basically go into way more detail about Comfort Dental. We give them opportunities that we currently have, doctors that are looking to retire and sell out, offices that are looking to add more partners because they're too busy for what they have. In all of the 10 states we're at, we have opportunities. And so if somebody comes to me and says, "Oh, I'm looking at Texas," say, "Okay, here's the offices that we have in Texas that are looking." And I'm not selling those practices because the doctors that are working that own those practices, but I'm there to facilitate introductions and help them. Okay, what's the next step if I wanted to go look at this office and talk to these doctors about potentially joining that practice? And so that's a big part of what I do as well. And there's other small things that we do, but we travel too much. I would say I was on 60 something flights last year, just all over the country. Just, and I really enjoyed that part of what I do now. I still like dentistry. I still like seeing patients, but I really enjoy talking to dental students and newer dentists about Comfort Dental because it's been so good to me.
I was going to say, so what do you feel like is one or who might be a really good fit for Comfort Dental? Is there a specific place in someone's career where you're talking to them and you're hearing certain things and you're like, okay, you're ready to transition. You're probably a good fit for us. What would they be looking for?
We talk to a lot of dental students, and you can kind of get a feel for who's looking for a job. Number one, now we do some of our offices will take associates, but of the 500 doctors, there's maybe 10 or 15 associates in the whole company. Like we are a ownership group. We are an ownership model. We want doctors who want to own a practice. And so maybe a good candidate is somebody that's been out of dental school for a few years, that's either been in the military or has been worked somewhere else and realized I don't want to do the DSO route anymore because I'm just working for somebody at that point. I'm only making 30% of what I'm doing. I want to become an owner. I want the potential to make more money. I would say somebody that's a good candidate for Comfort Dental isn't afraid to work because it seems to me like a lot of maybe this is a generational thing and maybe I'm just a jerk. I don't know. But a lot of people don't want to work. They've become a dentist and now you should just pay me because I have doctor in front of my name. You have to work as a dentist. And that's one thing I don't think a lot of newer dentists don't understand is look, when I show up to my office, I'm there to work and I'm going to work for that 6 or 12 hours that I'm there. I put my head down and I work because that's the time that I'm there to make money. And then when I'm not there, I'm not thinking about it because my partners are handling the office on a day like today when I'm off. I don't have to think about a lot of the office stuff. So it's not that you're killing yourself working to death, but you have to be willing to work at dentistry. You can't just show up and hope you're spoon fed everything. You're spoon fed the procedures, you're spoon fed the perfect patient. It, sometimes it takes work to convince people that, yeah, this is really going on. And if you don't fix this, here's what's going to happen. But we take all, last year, I want to say we added 25 to 28 doctors. We grow very slow. We don't have private equity money. We're not buying up existing offices and then trying to turn them into Comfort Dentals. To this point, we've only ever done de novos, so brand new offices. And but we've taken brand new doctors out of school, right out of dental school. And yeah, they're slower at first and they need some mentoring, but if we can get them in the system and teach them here's the proper way to do things, we're not breaking bad habits that they maybe had for 3 or 4 years being somewhere else. And so is there a perfect doctor? I don't know that there's a perfect one, but if you're willing to work, if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to then be a mentor and help others, I think that's the type of dentist that Comfort Dental is looking for. So one thing I would say is the best thing about Comfort Dental can be the partnership. If you have good partners, now you don't have to be in love with these people, you don't have to be best friends with these people, but in my office, the four of us have one goal, and that's to be a successful dental practice so that we can all be financially successful and not stress so much about making our bills every month. The worst thing about Comfort Dental can potentially be the partnership. And so it's finding those partners that have the same, not values as you, but as far as that specific business goes, they want to succeed with you. And there's some people that are just hard to get along with. I don't tend to have a hard time getting along with people. I get along with most people. There's some people I'd rather not get along with if I don't have to. But it's finding that group of doctors that works for you specifically as a dentist that you can see yourself. Okay, I don't have to hang out with them on the weekends. I don't have to marry these people, but I got to get along with them while we're here in the office and have the same goal that they do.
When it's so much of success in life is enjoying the people that you're around. And it sounds like Comfort Dental does a really good job of curating and making sure that the partners are good people and that they really care about doing good dentistry. So yeah, I think that's another thing that really Comfort Dental excels at.
And we want partners to get along. We want them to be successful. We want them because when they're not, we tend to hear about it. And then that's just more things that I got to deal with that I don't want to deal with. And so I don't ever want to send a brand new doctor into an office where they're going to be like, wow, why did he want me to come to this office? These people are terrible or whatever. I want them to have a good experience when they come to Comfort Dental.
Okay, so just two more questions before we close. So what are you most proud of when you look at the organization as a whole?
I think at this point, I'm proud of our growth, really. And Comfort Dental grew long before I was involved in Comfort Dental. But I look at it at this point, and in the past 4.5 years, we've added a lot of doctors and a lot of offices. And I think a lot of that is due to me and other people as well, but just our willingness to get out there and talk about Comfort Dental and why we think it's the best system there is for dentists. Yeah, I would just say that's what I'm the most proud of.
How do you think Comfort Dental impacts access to care?
I would say where we are located, we drastically help access to care. And the reason for that, it's multifactorial. There's a lot of reasons, but one of the biggest reasons I would say is we are willing to take those insurances or even Medicaid that a lot of doctors aren't willing to. A lot of doctors don't think I can't accept those fees. They're too low. I can't make money on those fees. And we look at it and say, how can I be efficient enough to accept those fees and still make money on it? And I would see Medicaid patients all day, every day, if that's all I had, and I'd be totally willing to, because I can still be financially successful to help those people where other doctors might not feel like they can because they can't make the money on them. So I would say that Comfort Dental drastically helps access to care in the places we're located.
It's just oozed out of you the whole time I've been talking to you that you really do love the model, you love the system, you love the ecosystem that Comfort Dental has created. And I can understand why, because dentistry is normally incredibly hard. And there's been times where you've said, yeah, dentistry, it's easy now. Like, meaning you don't have to stress out about everything because you're not alone. You have a partner, you have backing, and they've really set you up to succeed. And I feel like that's exactly what you've embodied and really communicated here today.
Yep, I would agree.
Dr. Colledge, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you for listening. You can learn more about Comfort Dental at comfortdental.com.